Alright, what is going on, guys? It is your boy here, the combat consultant, the soundboard god, Jacob Koopman, and we've got to review Deji's most recent performance, talk about what the future holds for him, and some of the keys to his success that I feel like a lot of people aren't talking about. Alright, so here we go, both gentlemen. Touch gloves. They're ready to go. Swarms, big test for him. Going up against a guy in Deji. I gotta be honest, I didn't think that Swarms was going to be able to do anything against Deji. I was very vindicated. I talked about it on stream, but just a masterclass performance for Deji, huh? What a way to go out there and prove himself and continue this kind of win train that he's been on, where he's looked technically excellent. So I want to start out here. You'll take a look. Hands always near his head. That is super duper important for any boxer. And a lot of guys at this level, they seem to forget that technical part of their game, man. They want to keep their hands low, near their hips. KSI is very guilty of that. King Kenny can be guilty of that sometimes. But another thing you'll notice is the speed and the fluidity of Deji. He's keeping that high guard up there, and you'll notice he only unloads when he has Swarm cornered, right? He'll back him down with feints, hit him with 1-2s. He's not a big volume guy when the fight is in open space, but very reminiscent of the Fuzi fight. When he feels like he has someone kind of trapped, that's when he starts to unload. One of his biggest shots was that hook to the body. And with Swarms jumping and reacting to every single feint the way that he did, you see why Deji was able to kind of get him where he wanted him to. Wide stance, that's good. You want to be very, very wide, but also set in your base, right? You could see Deji, his knees are bent nicely. That's going to be better for absorbing shots. He also fights southpaw, so he's always constantly fighting to get that lead foot on the outside of Swarm's lead foot. Nice shot over the top. Here we go. Here's what I'm talking about, right? Kind of will dart in, 2-3 combinations, get back out. Dart in, 2-3 combinations, get back out. All right, so here's the beginning of round number 2. Deji continues to just kind of track. He's not even using a pendulum type of motion. Swarms is just allowing himself to get backed up in a linear fashion. There's that hook. That's a huge hook that Deji landed all fight. Deji slowly tracks him, using the head fakes, using the feints. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. Another body strike. Couple of digging body hooks, and then he's out of the way. Now, another thing that makes Deji really, really unique and one of the most technically solid boxers in the scene, perhaps even more technically solid than King Kenny, is that he's never really leaping out of position when he throws shots, when he moves his head. Everything's very clean, very tight. Even on those body shots, everything. And you know what makes this extra impressive is the fact that Swarms is significantly taller than Deji. But you see, it's a very interesting thing in that Deji is the one. Usually the taller man should have the pressure advantage. Deji is the one backing Swarms down. And part of the technicality is training, obviously, but another big part of it is fitness. Deji can do this because he is in supreme shape. His physique may not key you into it, but his cardio is off the charts. Here we go, beginning of round number 3. Deji backing him up with some big jabs. Taking short, choppy steps, too. He's never really leaping or bounding in, right? Everything's kind of a half step. That's what you want to do in combat sports. You don't want to leap in because then that could mean that maybe perhaps too much weight is on your front foot or you're leaving your chin exposed. Even when he manages to get out of the way of a shot, you saw it just before there, he's taking a half measured step. Now that lead hand is a little bit low for my liking, but when you have a guy in Swarms that's not exactly going to give you the most amount of volume, you can get away with that. What's important is that that backhand is up near the head. Multiple times he's landed that hook, jab, uppercut combination. Seems he really likes to throw that. And honestly, it's what Swarms is giving him. Deji is not going outside of his needs to try to get some big knockout shot. He's keeping his eyes open. Fantastic IQ right there. Just seeing what Swarms will allow him to get away with. Right there. Instinctually, that's fantastic. Swarms starts to light him up. Deji clinches in the pocket like that. This should be clear to anyone that's watching this that Deji has evolved tremendously as a fighter, as a boxer. Deji now kind of employing that long guard, tapping away with that jab, which again is very odd because you'd think you'd see the taller, longer man in Swarms doing that, but Deji just a master seemingly at controlling distance. And at this point, I've debated with a lot of people about what happened to Swarms in the fight. I think it's a combination of exhaustion, but also having to try to solve the puzzle that is Deji. He's quick, man. He's explosive. He's athletic. He's got great head movement. Does have a little bit of a hitch in his step, which could make him perhaps a bit predictable, but that's something you could easily work on. And even when he throws and when he's lunging in, he has a perfect idea of where he needs to be when that shot ends mechanically. And it's very rare that I'm going to walk away from watching a fight saying that a fighter doesn't need to work on anything from their last performance. But man, Deji's making my job hard. I'm really struggling to find something other than a few small things like that hitch that we talked about and maybe the tendency to leave his hands down towards the last 15 seconds of a fight that he would need to work on, man. Everything else, technically brilliant. It's going to be interesting to see someone give Deji a little bit of resistance because I feel like Swarms didn't do enough of that. But in my opinion, most certainly a main event spot has to be next for Deji, amongst a host of other possibilities. But I've been your boy, of course, the combat consultant, the soundboard god, Jacob Cooperman. I'll see you on the next one. Deuces.